Whether it's for Black Friday, Christmas, or simply just treating yourself, here are 5 things you need to know about before you buy a drone. First thing, and most importantly, one of the common misconceptions is that you can fly a drone anywhere and you can fly it for miles. On a lot of the packaging, on a lot of the advertising, it advertises it has a 6-kilometre range, a 12-kilometre range. Well, here's some news. In most countries, it's against the law to fly beyond visual line of sight. So that means that you have to keep the drone within your line of sight visually, not looking at your controller. Research your national authority's flight regulations. So in the UK, you need to go to the CAA website, and in the US, it's the FAA. CAA is Civil Aviation Authority, FAA is Federal Aviation Administration. There are a lot of guides on those websites as to where you can fly and where you can't fly, how high you can fly. There are laws about that as well. So in general, in most countries, you can't fly above 400 feet. That's 120 meters. So again, bear that in mind. If you're expecting to fly above the clouds and get lots of shots of aeroplanes, droning may not be for you. Number 2, in most countries, you have to register either your drone or register as a drone operator. In general, this is for all drones that have a camera on them. In the UK, you have to register with the CAA as an operator, and that costs about 10 quid a year. Number 3, decide which drone you would like to start off with. Now, in the main, I would recommend the Mini type drones. Those are drones under 250 grams. They're great starter units and really help you get to understand how drones work and how drones fly. The larger drones, for example, the DJI Air 3 or the Mavic 3 series, I really wouldn't recommend as starter drones. There are a lot of restrictions because of the weight, as you will see on the CAA or the FAA websites, and so you are restricted as to where you can actually fly. With the Mini type of drone, that is under 250 grams, there are a lot less restrictions. You have a lot more freedom to fly. That doesn't mean there aren't any laws. It doesn't mean it's the outlaws drone, but certainly there are a lot less restrictions. So number 4, you've decided which drone you want to get, but now which controller do you get? There are different types of controllers. You get one controller which doesn't have a screen on it. You have to attach your mobile phone to it to see where it's going, have a look through its camera, and have a look at its telemetry, its altitude, speed, etc. The more convenient package, although slightly more expensive, is the type of controller that has a built-in screen on it. That means that when you're starting up the controller, it's starting up the screen at the same time. There's no scrabbling about in your pockets to get your mobile phone to attach that to it, and it's way more convenient. Number 5, extras. With a normal drone package, you will get the drone, you'll get a battery, and you'll get the controller. Those batteries last roughly between 20 and 30 minutes. Depends on the conditions you're flying in the drone you're flying. So once you've got to the end of that 20 or 30 minutes, what are you going to do? It takes a good hour or so to charge one of those batteries. So you're just going to sit around? No, you're going to want to carry on flying, but you can't. So the best thing to do is to get yourself a couple of extra batteries, and you might want a battery charging unit. Well, DJI actually provide a Fly More combo. You get 2 extra batteries, you get a charging hub, you get all of the cables you need for charging, and you get a bag to carry your drone around in as well. You also get extra propellers. You also get extra propellers because you never know when you're going to have an accident. If you just hit a twig or a tree or a leaf, generally those propellers are designed to be breakable so that it doesn't put too much stress on the drone itself. So if your budget is limited, and say you're looking at the Mini 4 Pro but can't quite afford the Fly More combo and the extras, then it might be worth you downgrading to a Mini 3 Pro. It is an ultimately capable drone and a real favourite in the community. Now, before I get on to the bonus tip, It would be brilliant if you could like this video, subscribe to it, leave a comment if there's anything basic that I've missed out. And also, you might not be buying a drone, but if you know of anyone that is thinking of it, please share this video with them. It's unfortunate that it's not more publicized that there are regulations around drones, and you do have to register either as an operator or register the drone itself. Okay, so I said there was a bonus tip, and this is the one I just thought of as I started filming. Where do you buy your drone? I would honestly recommend buying from a reputable retailer or direct from the manufacturer themselves, such as DJI. I really wouldn't advise going to that certain social media hub marketplace. In my experience, it is just 98% scammers. It's unfortunate because it would be a great resource to buy secondhand from. The other thing you need to consider if you're buying secondhand is you don't necessarily know the history behind that aircraft. Now, most people in the drone community are good eggs, nice, honest people, but you could get a drone that has been in a crash and has been super glued underneath or something and nobody knows. One last thing to remember is, as with most electronics these days, they don't come with a charging brick. You have to have your own. And so for charging for drones, it needs to be fairly high power. So consider getting a 35 watt, 65 watt, 100 watt hub for USB-C charging. Oh, high-speed SD cards as well, like this one that I'm going to show now. Okay, so all of this was meant to be just an overview of the essential things that you needed to know if you were going to buy a drone. However, I think there's one important thing that I may have left out, and that is flight restricted zones, or FRZs. On the DJI app, whether it's on your smartphone or whether it's on the integrated controller, it will actually say where there are flight restricted zones. But it's always recommended that you download a third-party application such as Drone Assist, which I'll link in the description, for you to double check in real time where you can and can't fly. Absolutely do not fly near airports, absolutely do not fly near prisons, but there are plenty more details in those apps. So there we have it, the 5 things to consider when buying a drone. Think about the regulations, think about registering or creating an operator ID with the CAA. Think about the type of drone you want to fly. As I said, my recommendation would be to start off with a mini type drone. Think about the controller that you want. Think about the extras that you might want to buy, and certainly consider buying one of those Fly More combos. And finally, where you're going to buy it from. So secondhand might be a bargain, but if you see a deal that's too good to be true, it probably is. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to add any comments or questions down below. And just bear in mind that this is just a very top-level overview. There are plenty of experts out there on YouTube, such as Geeksvana, such as Pilots Institute, that know a lot more detail than I've gone through here. So please feel free to go and visit them. Again, I'll put links in the description below. Good luck and happy flying. Bye.